In this video, we'll go over the data entry portion of the CSSP water quality input tool. First, we'll create a fictional datasheet by selecting a subsector in the drop-down list. We'll select today as the sampling date, and a new button appears right here, Create Lab Sheet. Once you do this, a new screen will appear where you can enter your data. You'll also notice that the Home button is now clickable. If you click on that, it will take you back to the previous screen, and you'll see that your sheet has been created with the subsector name and code, as well as the sampling date that you selected, and a log has been created. We'll go back into this data sheet and start entering your data. The site type column is non-editable. This includes the site number and what type of sample they are. This was selected in the sampling plan. The next column over is the time. This is a sampling time that was noted in the field. Users have to use a 24-hour clock. For instance, if it's 9 a.m. and I only use 900, it will not record the information. I have to type in 0900 and the application will automatically format it correctly. You can also check in the status bar below that gives you an example of how you have to enter the data. If I made a mistake, I can double click on the cell and either type over it, or I can press spacebar and this will delete the information. Then I can enter the new information. To go over to the next column, you either press the right or left arrows to move, or the tab key, or simply click in the next cell. You'll also notice that the status has changed to saved. The information will be saved automatically. If I enter some more information in this column, you'll see here that it says saving, and once it's done, the status will change to saved. The next three columns over are your positive tube results in the lab. So for instance, I may have had 3 tubes that are positive in the 10 mil row, 1 positive tube in the 1 mil row, and none in the 0.1 mil row. When I move over to the next column, you'll notice that the MPN is automatically calculated for you. Again, you'll notice that the status bar will tell you what the allowable values are. If I enter a tube combination that is impossible for us, for instance 600, it will not even record the information. And if I enter an unusual tube combination, for instance 050, it will not calculate any MPN value. When this data is sent to the database, no values will be entered for this sample. The next column over is the salinity in parts per thousand. The status bar will again show me the allowable numbers. I can use 10 or 10.2 if I have a digital meter. The next column over is the temperatures in degrees Celsius. Again, allowable values are from -12 to 35, -1, 10. And the last column over is the comments section. This is used to add any comments that field crew may have had in regards to the specific site. The last row in the datasheet is the daily duplicate. This is a sample that is processed in duplicate, and it is predetermined in the sampling plan. For instance, here, sample 21 would be the daily duplicate. If it's the wrong sample, users have the ability of changing it directly in the input tool by clicking on the sample number, pressing F2 on your keyboard, and then confirming that you want to remove the daily duplicate. You see now that it's gone. And now to create the new duplicate, in this instant we'll pick sampling site number 1, press F2, and confirm that we want to create a new duplicate. The time, salinity, and temperatures will automatically be copied over from the original data. Users need only now to enter the duplicate data results. We'll pretend that it's 500. And additional information will be displayed on the bottom in the daily duplicate RLOG box. It will automatically calculate the RLOG, the precision criteria, which is predetermined in the sampling plan, and whether or not the daily duplicate is acceptable or not. If the precision criteria needs to be changed, users can do this directly in the input tool, and whether or not it is acceptable will be recalculated. In our case, to be acceptable, a duplicate needs to have a RLOG value that is smaller or lower than the precision criteria. There are two other kinds of duplicates. The Intertek duplicate is a sample that's processed in duplicate by a different analyst. To do this, users have to select the appropriate site number and click on F3 on their keyboard and then confirm the creation of the duplicate. Same as previously, if you selected the wrong one, you can again click on F3 to remove it if you want. The time, salinity, and temperature will also be copied over from the original sample, and then you can enter the information. Again, the RLOG will be calculated in the box below here, and whether or not is acceptable will be shown here. The third kind of Intertek is the Intertek reading. This consists of a sample results that is reread by a different analyst. To do this, click on the sampling site and press F4 on your keyboard and confirm that you want to create an Intertek read. Again, it will add the information at the bottom of the screen and automatically upload the time, salinity, and temperature. To be acceptable, an Intertek reading must have the same value as the original. So if an individual read a positive tube of 100 and the second analyst reads a tube combination of 200, the Intertek read log will read as unacceptable. The last section at the bottom consists of two comment boxes. The run weather comment box would be used to enter any weather information noted in the field, and the run comment box can be used for any other types of information such as lab issues or general field observations. Once all the information is entered, the users can click on the Get Tide button. The application will automatically upload the tides from the start of the sampling run, which was in this case 6 a.m., to the end of the sampling run, which was 9:31 in this case. The data is automatically uploaded from the DFO Tides websites. Alternatively, users can type in directly the tide values desired. The status bar will show you the allowable values and how to input them. The last step is to send the information to the CSSP web tool, which is the interface that the biologist or area coordinators will use to view the data before integrating it to the database. So click on the Send to Environment Canada button, and a number of flags are integrated into the application to prevent users from making mistakes. For instance, here it's flagging that the site number 3 is missing a tube combination. So I will go in here and correct that. Wait for the data to be saved, and then resend. Another flag pops up noting that there is an unusual tube combination. I can either still send that to the server or click No and modify the tube combination if it was indeed a mistake, or perhaps add a comment in the box here. Tube combination confirmed in lab. Put my initials. Wait for that to save. And then resend. Again, it flags the unusual tube combination. This time I will click on Yes. And the screen previously mentioned in the previous video appears, showing that the sender, which is my local computer C drive, wants to send to the receiver, which is the CSSP web tool location. It says that it does not have this lab sheet. Do I want to confirm that I send it? Yes. Again, it's flagging the unusual tube combination just to make sure you didn't make a mistake. I will click on yes. And now the status bar on top here says lab sheet sent OK. Same for the bottom status bar. If I click back on the home button, you'll see that the status of the lab sheet has been changed to sent, confirming that the datasheet has been sent to the CSSP web tool. Once the biologist or area coordinator approves the data, and I click on Update Dataset, the status will change to approved. The other type of status that are available would be the rejected status. This would be shown if on the CSSP web tool a biologist or area coordinator rejected the data. If I've noticed after sending a datasheet that I've made a mistake, for instance, perhaps the salinity here is wrong, before saving that information, there will be a pop-up asking if you are sure you want to make that change, because that sheet has already been sent for approval. You can either click no, and the information won't be changed, or if you click yes, sometimes that box pops up a couple times, the information will be changed. You will notice also that if you go back in the home page, that the status is now changed. This should alert users that they need to resend the information for approval. Are you sure you want to send the lab sheet to server? This is in regards to the unusual tube combination again. And the screen with the pop-up of what you are sending into the receiver will show up, and in red will show the differences. Send. Also to note are the blue coloring of certain cells. This means that they were edited at some point. When entering information, there will be a log on the home screen with date and timestamp of when the changes were made. If you go back into a data sheet and change things after they were originally inputted, that will change that cell to blue, indicating to users that there was a change, and if they want to know who made that change and when, they can refer back to the log and find that change.